the volunteers that know about us, or say we're the best kept secret, but actually we're hoping to shift that a little bit.
Get Radio Breakfast with Rich Smith.
Really looking forward to catching up with my next guest. We're speaking to Nicole Titera from Oxford City Farm. Nicole, good morning to you.
Morning. Thanks for having me on, Rich.
Absolute pleasure. First and foremost, congratulations. Runners-up for the Brand the Bus competition for 2026. That's an amazing thing and wonderful. That we'll get onto that very, very soon. But look, this is the first time that we've been on and that we've chatted about this. Tell us all about Oxford City Farm, because this is an amazing thing.
Yeah, I mean, Oxford City Farm, it's a beautiful little corner of central Oxford. We're off of the Iffley Road, and we're on a 2.5 acre site. And basically, we've transformed what was a former derelict school ground from when Oxford used to have middle schools, and transformed it into a thriving urban farm. There's just so much going on there. We've got animals, we've got a community kitchen, we've got land where we grow vegetables, and it's just the most amazing community asset, really.
Yeah, it's a phenomenal thing, and to realise that it is. I mean, as soon as you say Iffley Road, I've sort of lived in and around that area, and you kind of go, a farm, Iffley Road. I'm sure everyone is, and you've heard this a million times before, going. How is that possible? But it is. You are there, and the space is enormous.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think it's one of our volunteers that has described us as one of Oxford's best kept secrets, and I think that really is the case. We're shoehorned in this little gap, and I think like the people that know about us rave about us, but lots of people just haven't heard about the work that we're doing. And I think in part that's because we've been growing as an organisation over the last few years. We're putting on more and more programming and events, and so I think at the moment we really just want to get the word out that we're there, and we want people to come down.
Yeah, exactly that, and this is what it is all about, and kind of introducing, I'm sure, to a few more people that don't know about, and to explain the sort of the charity aspect of all of this, the kind of correlation between, okay, we've got this kind of farm. How does that sort of lead into sort of charity and community?
Well, I think from our perspective, it's really all about connecting people with food, with farming and nature, and I think we all know sort of intrinsically that being connected with those things is good for our well-being. And I think I see it every day on the farm. I see it in action, that it really builds community. And I think the other thing that it does is I think it really inspires people in lots of different ways. And I don't think we're not very it's not very formal. I think that's the other thing about it, is that people come and they layer on what they want into the space. I think lots of people are concerned about the climate and what can they do. And I think the farm is something really, really tangible where people can learn how to grow their own vegetables, which is just, I think lots of people want those connections, but maybe feel a bit lost. They don't know where to get started. And this is somewhere where we have these most amazing community growers that are available during our community farming sessions that are every Friday and Saturday between 10 and 1. And they're just there to teach. You get to learn in action, be around other people and form connections. And that really is what builds community, brings people together, and what's so exciting about the work that we do.
Yeah, and I'm just sort of listening to that as well, and I'm sort of going through people's sort of relationships with, forgive me for saying sort of gardens and maybe allotments and what have you, but it's actually it's quite an insular thing, isn't it? I'm sort of kind of going, you've got your patch of land, you're doing your thing, you're tending your bit of ground or garden, or you've got an area at your home where you're kind of like, okay, well, I want to do that. But actually, if you had that community kind of spirit of going, actually, how do I do this together, and how do I kind of link up and share ideas? I'm using my wife's kind of mum meetup groups that she's doing at the moment. It's exactly the same sort of thing, that all these mums get together and kind of share their experiences and ideas and all this kind of stuff. And it's kind of the same thing with you guys and these community sort of open days that you have, that everyone gets together and learns together, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's really, I think it's one of those things where, like you say, it is a little bit, it can be a bit insular. And if you're at home and you're looking at your very sad, courgette
Yes.
plants
Yes.
that the bugs have gone to town on it and you're feeling deflated, if you're in that on your own, that, that can be a bit difficult to sort of pick yourself back up. I think actually being able to come together with other people, and also I think the other thing with the farm is we really recognize that not everyone has outdoor space, access to outdoor space, or that commitment of making sure that you have to be down there, in weather like this, as hot as it is, the plants have to be watered maybe at least once, possibly twice a day. That's a big commitment for people. But what the farm really opens up is, it means that gardening and growing your vegetables is for everyone. If you can only come, once a month, once in a blue moon, or every week, there's a place for you to get involved in the farm. And I think that's really what's really brilliant. And we try to make it as inclusive as possible, so we have, from children, up to people in their, I think, into their 80s and 90s that have sort of come down to the farm. And there are lots of different touch points. I mean, I've talked a little bit about our community farming sessions, because that's the main way that the general public can get involved with the farm. But that's only on Fridays and Saturdays. The rest of the week, the farm is open. But what we're doing in those days is running sort of closed sessions, so working closely with some of the local schools, the Academy, which is a local special educational needs school. We're running sessions that are really tailored for those groups to make sure that it is a space for absolutely everyone, and making that available for everyone. I mean, what's not to be excited about that?
I'm just loving this. I'm kind of doing the same thing that I think a lot of people are doing right now, and sort of listening and going, wow, no way. I can't believe this is here, just off the Iffley Road. It's amazing. And mentioning, and we keep mentioning farm and farm. We've mentioned growing things, but in terms of animals as well.
Oh yeah. No, I think we've definitely got animals, and I think actually, I mean, they just speak for themselves. We've got some goats, milking goats. So we have a goat milking program. And they've just kidded, so we've got some very cute little animals running around. We have a beautiful sort of rare breed sheep, a weasel sheep, so it's sort of like a little sheep in miniature, which is ideal for the sort of the small site that we have. We have 3 sandy and black pigs as well, and about 100 chickens. We've just hatched some chicks, actually. They're in the front running. I mean, the animals speak for themselves. I think that's why I lead with vegetables, because I feel like they're the unsung hero of the farm. I'm like, let me talk about the vegetables, because I know that everybody just adores the animals. But I mean, again, it's a really great opportunity for people to interact with animals, and also understand a bit more about what goes into making the food that we eat. And I think it's a really great conversation starter for people to really see that up close, and what it, all of those things that it means for our food system, and what we put in our body, and how important that is for both ourselves and for the planet.
So, I mean, I'm going to continue the conversation, because we're supposed to be going to the roads, but I'm really interested, so I don't care. So education is playing a pivotal role in what you're doing, because obviously the more knowledge people have, the better understanding, from growing a courgette to eating some meat potentially. If the more knowledge that people have, and that kind of gathers, the kind of better going forward everyone is, the better society is, and the better people can kind of look after themselves, I guess. Yeah,
absolutely. And I think increasingly we've come further and further away from sort of how and where our food comes from. And I think, people expect to go to the supermarket and the shelves just to be filled. And you mentioned, that it can be a bit, we can feel a bit distant from that, I think. And I think it's sort of really sort of tapping back into where does it come from, and what does it mean? I think there are so many benefits that come from it. I think if you've gone to the trouble of growing a cucumber, you're not going to let that go moldy at the back of the fridge. You're going to want to relish that. And I think the same also goes for the animals is you're going to want to see that they're really well cared for, that they have the highest welfare standards, what that means for the animals. And I think that again is, these are all touch points that it can sometimes feel a bit distant, like it's happening somewhere else in the countryside, and our farmers are doing, you know, amazing work looking after our countrysides. And I think this is a way in which we can sort of connect people a little bit more easily. You know, not everyone has access to transport out into the countryside, and I think it's about bringing people that little bit closer to something that can be a little bit harder to sort of you know, to get connected with, I think now.
Yeah, it's absolutely fascinating. I could chat to you for ages about this, because I'm genuinely like so interested. We'll have to get you on the business brunch and what have you, and do some more bits and bobs. But just sort of touching on what we mentioned at the start, being part of the Brand the Bus campaign, obviously with Oxford City Football Club and of course Oxford Bus Company, and being runner-up as well. That's a great thing, and obviously going to help with the kind of the awareness and more people like me this morning finding out even more about Oxford City Farm.
Yeah, I mean, we're just so incredibly grateful for everyone in the community that voted for us to get us shortlisted. It really shows how much, you know, the farm's valued. So I can't just say thank you enough to our community for sort of helping to put us on the radar, and then also to the panel and the team at the Oxford Bus Company who've chosen us, because we were in the running with, you know, some fantastic charities. So just being runner up is incredible. In fact, actually, they've said that they're going to be topping up our prize, because they can see how much actually this kind of exposure will make for our organisation. We're a really small Oxfordshire based grassroots organisation. It just means so much that people are going to see our message travelling around Oxfordshire on a bus. I think that just really excites me that more people will hear about us, because, as I said, you know, the volunteers that know about us, or, you know, say we're the best kept secret, but actually we're hoping to shift that a little bit, because we know that having a space where people can connect, can learn about food and farming, it's going to mean so much we can reach so many more people that way. And, you know, I'm really excited. It's just such an exciting time.
Yeah, it really is, and definitely let's turn that best kept secret into the most awesome thing that is around there. Oxford City Farm. It sounds absolutely brilliant. Nicole, it's been amazing chatting to you, and yeah, best of luck with everything going forward. And I'm sure we'll hear a lot more from you in the not too distant future. Thank you for that.
Amazing, thanks, Rich.
It's brilliant stuff, isn't it? Absolutely fascinating. I love learning and finding out more about something that's potentially on your doorstep. There we go, brilliant stuff.